Hey, spiritual superstars, welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Valentine's Day season, and we want to talk about boundaries in relationship. So come on in, type in your pound or hashtag 1111. And that is the opening of the spirit realm. And we do that because we create the opportunity for our spiritual guidance to come on in and flow right to us so we can receive it. Are you ready? Let's do it. Take a beautiful deep breath in, raising our vibration, literally kissing our higher self, connecting with the divine, and then exhaling everything out that you don't want all the way. Thank you so much, Divine Source. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, so boundaries. I believe that when you talk about boundaries, you've got to bring into the conversation values and standards. And I really believe that before you get into another relationship, and even while you're in a relationship, that it's so important for you to get those three things really warmed up inside of yourself in order to express it to someone else. And when you're a parent, I believe you have to teach this to our children. So I see you already hitting the thumbs up button. Thank you so much. That makes me feel incredibly um, appreciated. So thank you so much. And please continue and hit that subscribe button. And don't forget the little bell so you'll be notified when we come back over with more videos just like this. Okay? So let's start with our values. What do you value in relationship? And relationship is not just romantic, but it is also relationship with family, parents, children, co-workers. It is also relationship with your lovers or your significant others, family members, their friends as well. It could be your sister's friends. So relationship goes above and beyond just what our perception is at that moment. So we have these blinders on, and we may just be looking at relationship as being love or a romantic because that's where we are focusing in our life at that moment. So let me just help you expand it. And we want to expand our perception and be open minded because we're approaching relationship in a subjective way. But we got to look at it objectively because relationship is energetic. And when you look at it like that, you realize your energy is fluid and you realize your connections play off of each other because you're the common denominator. So how you do relationship with your siblings is going to be pretty congruent with how you do relationship with your children, with your parents, with your spouse, with your significant others, with your best friends, with your coworkers, because you're coming at the relationship as a whole from a very subjective standpoint. Does that make sense so far? So hit the thumbs up button if that makes sense. Let me know in the chat if that makes sense. Hey, LaFawn, how have you been? Hey, Clara, good afternoon. And it's so wonderful to see you all. And thank you so much for typing in your pound and your 4 1s. So, relationship values. What do you value? So, it may be that you value integrity And if you don't know what that means, Google it. Use your resources. Just like you see people still counting using their fingers, I do. And I finally got my 11-year-old to be comfortable using his fingers without leaving it all up here in his fingers. He wants to use his fingers so much, but he just wouldn't use the resources. Use your resources, right? So, what do you value? Do you value strength? Do you value honesty? I know my mother, it was her biggest thing was don't lie to her. And I feel the same way. Don't lie to me because I can't trust you. I can't protect you. I can't keep you safe. I can't help you. That's what I tell my children. And when I'm lied to, it takes a little bit of the trust that I have from you away, or it could take a lot depending on how I perceive that, lie to how it affects me, how I feel it, and how I perceive it to harm our relationship, whatever that is. So remember, you're coming at it from a subjective standpoint. What is it that you value? Take a minute and really give that your consideration. Take a minute because you deserve that understanding within yourself because you must convey it to everyone else. That is what a relationship is. It involves healthy communication, and sometimes that communication can be uncomfortable. What I have found in my own life and in my coaching clients, even our students at Spiritual Guidance Academy, friends, family, is this one common denominator, this one common thing that when the time comes, when we realize, whoa, I'm getting hurt or I've gotten hurt in relationship because I didn't have boundaries set up that are in alignment with my values and my requirements in relationship, it becomes a little difficult to voice that when we don't know what we value ourselves. So, in particular, ladies, we tend to move based on emotion and feelings. It's super important that we get that under control through our sacral chakra. That is where we house our emotions and our feelings, and we become the master of our vessel, and we move forward in life logically and emotionally. But we try to just find that balance. Does it always work? No. But I believe seeking that balance is what keeps you happy. So just remember, you do your best, and that's it. You do your best. Your best is good enough. It's good enough. Trust me. Your best is good enough. That means that you are enough. Okay. So values, what do you value? You may value being kissed at night. You may value being hugged in the morning. You may value clean sheets. You may value getting out of the shower and your significant other has something waiting for you. Tea, has dinner done. You may value working long hours and having coworkers that appreciate the fact that you're a single parent. You may value phone calls that are people checking on you. Could be family, friends, significant other, people that want to be your significant other. You may value that. So it's important to sit with during meditation and then reflect on what it is you value, because that's a key ingredient to setting up healthy boundaries in relationship. Okay? And so let's move on to the next thing. So you got your values. Then requirements. What do you require from people? What is your expectation of others? What is it that you require for someone to be in a relationship with you? I'll give you a great example. Do you require in, let's say, in a platonic friendship, do you require respect? What does that feel like? But certainly, what does that look like? What does that look like? Thank you, LaFawn. Thank you so much. What does that look like? So respect may look like you don't want people to use profanity while they're on the phone with you or in text messages. You may not find that respectful. And here's another thing. It may not be all profanity. You may just not want to hear it the majority of the time because you know you may use some words every now and then. It's okay to value that within yourself and require that in your relationship. You see how all of this fits in together? But if you're not aware of that within yourself, how can you be confident to convey it? Does that make sense? Hit the thumbs up button if that makes sense. So setting up a boundary that's healthy is knowing that what you value and knowing what your requirements are for that relationship. Maybe you require in a love relationship, you may require that you both pay for dates. You may require gifts on holidays. You may require support in your business. You may require a daily phone call. You may require some form of daily communication. You may require healthy energy between you and their children and them and your children, but certainly extend that out because this is relationship, right? This is everyone involved kind of a relationship. You may require to go slower than someone else, but how do you know that if you don't know what your time length is? How do you know if you require someone that is open to intimacy within the first couple of dates and they are? How do you voice that? And you may require that someone waits 6 months, a year. But how do you voice that if you're not aware of this need within yourself? So, going over to boundaries, we're creating that bridge that either the drawbridge is up or the drawbridge is down in relationships. So, what do requirements look like? What do values look like? And please ask questions because I will do my very best to come back over and answer them for sure. So ask any questions in the chat. So healthy boundaries are can be the difference between deal breakers and knowing that this is the one. It can be the deciding factor in, do I let this person go out of my life? Do I break the connection? Or do I work on it and put in effort for it to grow? Relationships require work. Here's one thing that I have realized is simply this, and the beautiful thing about this is I received it from my mother, who is transitioned in the Abba kingdom, as a strong reminder. And remember, this goes in romantic, family, neighbors, classmates, co-workers. managers, employees, all of that kind of connection, cousins, is when you have to have those difficult conversations or that difficult moment comes up, have it because you feel it went against your values, your requirements, and it's right there infringing upon the boundary that you set up for yourself. So a healthy boundary may look like physical. If you're physically pushed, they've crossed the boundary. If you feel threatened, they've crossed that boundary. But do you have that set up as a boundary? Another boundary is they will not discipline your child or children. That is a boundary that you have up that they are not to cross, whoever that they are not to cross is. I remember a time where my sister, she was watching my children, and her son, my nephew, their cousin, hit both of them with like a bat. It was like a plastic bat, and my children were stunned, and he was used to playing pretty rough like that. And she didn't respond the way that I would have. We got different connections with our kids. We're raising them a little differently, and they are different, right? Everyone has their own personality, all of that. So the boundary that I was and am instilling in my children are no one touches your body without your approval. And if that happens, you alert the closest adult and you tell them to call your mama. Immediately. You tell the adult and you tell them to call your mama immediately. And that's what happened. That's what happened. And so having those boundaries, does that make sense? Having those boundaries. I have years ago, I remember a good friend of mine, she was seeing a married man and realized he was married when they connected. Realized it. And I think he told her that he was thinking about separating from his wife and was giving her, I remember her saying that it was, he was sleeping on the couch and they pretty much lived separately in the same home. And she pursued, well, she proceeded to stay in a relationship with this man for several years. And when he would say or do something that made her feel less than, maybe unappreciated, or like he really didn't care about her or love her, she would relent and go back in and give in, if you will. So I remember she asked me, flat out asked me one time, she had realized that I had started coaching professionally. Before that, of course, I'm always coaching anyway. Before you know that, before you go into your profession, you're doing it anyway, and you will do it happily for free. So I was always doing that anyway. And so she was comfortable speaking to me about it, and I was comfortable helping her and being there for her. And she asked me why, what my opinion was on why he continued to disrespect her. So I asked her, I remember asking her very specifically, are you sure you want my opinion? Are you sure? Because I'm going to give it and I'm not going to, I'm not going to beat around the bush. And she said, yes. And that's something I ask in my coaching sessions too. Your permission. Be empowered. Okay, always do that with your therapist, your coach. They should be asking your permission to give their opinion uh, in your session. That's what you're paying them for. And she said, yes. And so I said, well, what are your values and your requirements and your boundaries? She was like, what? And so that was the first time that she said she gave that consideration, that she even thought about that. And so I felt really blessed because I was able to help her figure that out within herself, which, caused both of us to be in tears because she realized that was the reason why she accepted a relationship with a married man in the first place. And it's not just married men, it's married women. There's different connections like that happen. You just have to know what your boundaries are, what your requirements are, what your values are. So I hope that this makes sense in order to help you establish healthy boundaries in relationship. Another boundary may be you don't want a connection with someone else that's doing certain things in their life. That may be a boundary for you. Or when you're in a relationship with someone else, how about their boundaries with other people? You may not feel comfortable with them having a relationship with someone that is an ex for them, or someone that they have been intimate with, or even someone that has issues with you, that has a problem with you that happens all the time. It may be a family member that you don't like, but it may be their family member. And so how do you form that boundary? How do you agree? How do you reach that compromise? How do you approach it? I always believe that it goes back to your own values and your own requirements for yourself. So if you require for you and your significant other, for example, to have that conversation in private, or to, um, work that out within yourself, between you two, then you've got to be able to voice that. Does anybody else struggle with speaking your truth? And it's okay, you're not going to be judged here. I definitely want to help you with that, because it's super important that you speak your truth and that we teach that to the kids. There was this woman. So comment down below if that is something that you need help with. Do you struggle with speaking your truth? There was this woman that is a deputy, sheriff deputy, something like deputy at a jail or something, I don't know, but he's in law enforcement, arrested for rape, sexual battery, child molestation, and the child's mother was also arrested because it said that she knew it was happening and let him whoop the child for lying, quote unquote, were her words. For I let him whoop her because for lying about what happened. We need to know how to speak up for ourselves, and we need to teach that to children. So if you're the uncle, you're the auntie, you're the sibling, you're the teacher, you're the therapist, you're the grocery clerk, you're the neighbor, you're the post person, the mail carrier, whatever it is, and you know something's going on, or you know someone needs help speaking up for themselves, I believe we got to be the advocate, many ways. You got to be that advocate. It's important to be able to speak up. So, one of the ways, real quick, I'll go 30 minutes with this video, and then we'll just end it then. One of the ways to learn how to speak up when you're trying to discover or create your boundaries and learn your values and learn requirements in relationship, because people change. We're growing, we're elevating, and we follow the principle of vibration, right? Which means nothing stays the same. We can choose to go backwards, but we're still moving because time is going this way. We can choose to go this way, or we can choose to go with the flow and grow and elevate, thrive, right? So one of the ways that I learned to honor my truth is really by watching other people. I'm a big people watcher. I always have been. I could sit there in the mall and just watch people. I always, as a little girl, I used to just watch people. I used to imagine what their life was like. Has anyone else ever done that? I watch people now. And I'm just, I'm enamored by some people. I'm in awe by some people. I was watching my daughter this morning while we were waiting for the bell to ring. And she was busy getting a jump on her mat. And I was just totally in awe by her respect and value she has for learning math. She values math. And so that's a big deal. She's trying to teach it to me, and I'm like, I told her I'll just go back to spiritual. So I people watch. I strongly suggest that. I definitely encourage you to do that. And why is that? Because you're going to find that what you hear other people say and what you watch them do is what you wish you had the courage and the confidence to say and do. And that level of respect is appreciation for someone else. And here's the really big thing that I found myself doing is that I began paying more attention to people that I would say I didn't like. That I would say, oh, I just can't, I don't like her, I can't stand her. I don't like her. You get the scrunched up face, you might be jealous or envious. Oh, I began watching them because what was it in them that I really didn't like? Why didn't I like them? Because they were more adventurous than me? They were more courageous than me? Were they more selfish than I was? Did they have a healthy dose of healthy selfishness? I learned that. I learned how to have healthy selfishness from watching selfish people. And that created a healthy boundary for me. It helped me establish deal breakers. And whether that is in your family of origin, your parents, your cousins, nieces, nephews, romantic, professional, community, spiritual, whatever it is. You can learn from other people, and they don't have to just be your friends. If you agree, hit that thumbs up button, because that took me years to really embrace. But it was within my wisdom that I was able to do that. And that's why I have such a profound respect for other people. And having that detachment from those emotions and feelings allows me to feel it, but accept what I want and throw away the rest. It allows me to go back in and be hugged up by God versus being swayed by the roller coaster ride of emotions within relationship. Do you find that, oh, when the energy goes like this, you go like this? Or do you find that the energy goes like this and you're able to be a rock? When I find myself swaying with the energy and feeling all that energy and it feels uncomfortable, I believe that these three things, your values, your requirements, and your boundaries, allow you to stop. While the energy's still going like this, you're deciding, do I want to go like that? Or do I want to do something different? Is this happy energy? Is this my energy? Is it conducive to my success? Is it something I need to give my energy to? So I hope that this helps you. And definitely comment, share your story. You definitely help so many people when you do that, spiritual superstars. And get on over to spiritualguidanceacademy.com. We've got our membership. What you're going to find in our membership now is we are moving on purpose. A lot of people I've realized are just in fear of moving into their next step in their purpose and their mission. And if I could leave you with this one thing, when you do step out on faith, you're taking massive action while you're still afraid. And I can tell you that any successful person that you will ever research, any icon or mentor or idol or what's the word for it, when you really respect someone and you hold them kind of up here and you want to reach that level of what you perceive to be their success. What name is that? What name is that when you look at someone like that? What is that in your life? A role model. Anybody that is successful like that, you will find that they're doing what they're doing and they did what they did to get where they are while they were still afraid. They just decided to have the blinders on and go full speed ahead in the direction of their goal. So that definite of purpose, as you hear in Napoleon Hill says that a lot, I think that's his term. It might be Dale Carnegie, but that definite of purpose is unshakable. And they refuse to give that up. And that's what I'm going to start helping you all do over at spiritualguidanceacademy.com. So I look forward to seeing you on the inside. All right. Have a beautifully blessed day, spiritual superstars. Love y'all.